So speaking of getting into the festive spirit, we are into the Christmas TV advert season. Retail, of course, experiencing its toughest year in living memory, maybe since the idea of Christmas television ads began. And many of us simply don't have the cash, or we might not be allowed to meet up for a big family Christmas. So how much hinges on getting your festive telly offering right? Retail expert Kate Hardcastle joins us on The Breakfast Show this morning. Kate, good morning.
Hello, good morning to you.
Morning. Any other year, we'd be asking you some straightforward questions about the build-up to Christmas. But this is a year like no other. How is the retail sector balancing this one?
Well, retail, has had such a challenging year. We've seen the rise of online, but we've also seen the hurt and the pain of our high street as we've seen these stores close down. I think very much so we've been reliant on retail in great ways beyond our previous years. When we think about the supermarkets in lockdown to start with, our reliance on the necessity of having food in our cupboards, right through to hearing some of our big high street giants struggling and having to make significant job losses. This year, for instance, being the first year Marks and Spencer's has had to mark down a loss after 94 years. So it's a tough one. And getting the Christmas advert right might seem to be a little chink of light at the end of the year. But if they don't get that tone of voice just bang on for customers at the moment, it could actually be really challenging for them at a time where they need to be making money and interacting and engaging with us as a brand. So we've heard a lot of the major retailers holding on until they could create the advert to see what the format of life was going to look like in December and try and reflect something in their advertising that was similar.
Indeed, John Lewis have got a tradition of a good Christmas advert, and I know they had thoughts after thoughts as to whether they would do it, and they did, to try and do a feel-good one. Have you seen it? What do you think?
It's out today. The whole idea is about sharing kindness, which you're seeing in a lot of the other brands' adverts. That's not a different format in any way. Many people looking at the neighbourly quality that the UK and beyond has shown in terms of getting through this. It's got a very unique soundtrack. Normally we hear a song that we already know remastered by an artist we know, but this is a brand new soundtrack. And the whole idea is that underpinning it supports charities. It supports families in need. It also is quite unique in its format. It's been created by 8 different artists. So the format of the advert, I don't want to give too much about the storyline, if you like, away, but it changes. So you can see that they're trying to support different artists, different artist industries. But again, the creative industry has been struggling this year.
It's quite possible, isn't it, now, that because we can't all get together in big groups and everything else, and it's been a bit of a disjointed year, we might not be spending as much on Christmas this year.
Well, we've been doing lots of research into that, and it's simply a case. It's very much 2 different ways. Some families think it's the most important Christmas ever. They want to make sure that everything's just so, and they want to make the people who they're away from, they might not be able to see, feel very special by maybe upping the spend in terms of gifts, etc. Some people absolutely, quite rightly, watching their purse and their wallets, very aware that we're going into some very challenging times, and realizing that actually is the true quality about Christmas what we spend or how we celebrate it, in the ways we're allowed to celebrate it. And that's the big thing. You could just imagine that Christmas advert coming out with a huge party in a kitchen, and then we're all looking at it saying, well, hang on a minute, there's only 6 of us allowed to be together anyway. So the messaging's just got to be right. And absolutely, it's certainly going to be much more of a sentimental Christmas.
Yeah, and I think at this stage we need to do a big shout out for the local retailers who, by gosh, they need our support.
Oh, absolutely. Independent retail is part of the community of 5.82 million small businesses across the UK. And those small businesses added in with the bigger businesses, they make the vibrancy of our high streets, our place. The way I always say it is, you have to remember that your daughter or son's football team, the kit's going to be sponsored more than likely than a small business locally. They add so much more to our communities. We need the great and the small, and it's up to us as consumers to use our pockets to help that happen.
Do you think some of our small retailers have been had a bit of a kick in the teeth with this latest lockdown, though, because quite a few of them have effectively closed down. They're having to rethink. They may be doing click and collect and some online stuff, but the big boys just seem to be operating as normal.
Many have pivoted in exceptional ways. I've seen some real maverick entrepreneurial thinking, which is what you would expect from smaller businesses. But that doesn't mean that it isn't tough. If you've had to close your store down, your cash flow is very different to a big business, then you've reopened precariously, you've had to invest in safety measures, you've not seen the same amount of footfall return, and then you've had to endure a second lockdown whilst maybe some other essential retailers are selling some of the items that perhaps there is question over whether it's essential or not. These are tough, tough times. And a lot of these small businesses aren't there because they want to make tons of money. They're there because that person's passionate to run a business locally and is passionate about what they're doing. And I think it's, like I said, we need the great and small together. So I think we have to understand that they add so much more to our communities. We hope to see greater support for them. And I think the support has to be nuanced between big business support and what those small businesses need.
Good to talk to you, Kate. Thank you. Kate Hardcastle is a retail expert.